and wow, it picked up live quick on that too. Okay, well, let me get this turned down here. Ooh, this is gonna be a brief live, man. It is cold outside. I just had to walk across to go get a burrito. Man, it's cold. 9 degrees and falling. Where I'm gonna be winding up, it's gonna be even colder. Just trying to do what I can do, and thought I would do a quick check-in. It's been difficult, kind of difficult to get stream, and it was very difficult the other night. I spent an hour doing an interview with Kid on the shutdown, and it's locked into a different phone that I've got, and I can't get it. Somehow the video itself says it can't be played. I put the card into another device. I'm gonna have to work on that. I'll send it to somebody and have them unlock it, but somehow or another, or I'll do a whole nother video with him. I just called him a little bit ago, but that's about the shutdown, the Black Smoke trucker shutdown, scheduled for April 12th and all through that weekend, and who knows how long. You know, plan ahead, because they're saying either you be shut down at your house or you will be shut down on the road. So I don't know what happened with that. I've got my own conspiracy theories about my little video thing. He thinks I'm nuts. I'm cool with that, but I have actually videoed a helicopter before, and it sent out something that made it where I couldn't video it. All of a sudden my device did not work. So there's no telling. Welcome to the NSFA. But we'll bring it to you. We're gonna get it going, and somehow I'll either unlock that video. It was a really good chat. We chopped it up, like I said, about an hour and 20 minutes. But he's a good sport. We're gonna get it back together. It's been difficult to travel, and I've been going through it. Last night, when I was going up to Columbus, Ohio, somebody keyed up on the radio. Some truck driver, I'm not gonna say real bad words against. How'd I get a like already? I ain't even done nothing. Anyway, appreciate the like. So some truck driver that was going north decided to try to do a U-turn in the median. So I want to take this opportunity to tell that driver he's an idiot, and to tell anybody else, don't be an idiot. Look, I don't care if you've seen officers go through the median. It's for emergency vehicles only. Even cars shouldn't be doing it, because you don't have an acceleration ramp, and people can come and chop you right off when you come out, or plow into you when you get straight. It's never a good idea to ever try to go through the median, unless you're directed to do so by a police officer. Horsefly, sup? Hey, Horsefly, I got my fly swat. You be straight too, right? keep you honest here. No, but glad you stopped in. Welcome. So I'm having a burrito, and like I said, I just thought I would do a quick live, but I wanted to definitely address that. You do not do, he put 10-4, Horsefly put 10-4. You do not ever want to go through the median, especially not in a truck. You're gonna get stuck. It's a recipe for disaster. Your landing gear is not gonna make it over that hump. That's like the steepest railroad tracks you could ever imagine. It's half past stupid. You know, don't do it. Never, ever will you ever be directed by any officer to take an 18-wheeler through the median. So what makes these people think they can turn around there? I don't know. Half of them are used to driving cars. You seen the video I did on the Swift the other day at the fuel aisle. They can't even pull straight through them. They're half trained, undertrained, you know, half brained, no brain. I don't know. Look, we can't teach you how to drive a truck. We could teach you how to save money. We could teach you how to maintain one, but you should know your job before you get out here. Let's see. Sorry, miss your call. I'm unloading. Hey, no worries. No worries, Kid. So Kid's checking in. Kid, I was just gonna say that I'm gonna go ahead and do this quick live, and me and you, we're gonna do another video of that, but I'll still try to dig that one out. I'm gonna try to use it on a card, and that VPN or whatever that is, that computer program I have for playing videos is an older one. Let's see. Ever find out if he hit the island? Yeah, he hit the island. I went on the other side and saw, you know, yeah, he hit the hell out of it. He was about stuck. So he had to come back out and get straightened out, and he couldn't go straight. The tractor was straight with the island, believe it or not, but he had done hit on the trailer on the passenger side. So that's between him and Swift and that pole, you know what I'm saying? But it's shit-tastic. Yeah, I'll be damned. Horsefly put I'll be damned. Yeah, see, I went over there. People act like I didn't want to help him. I walked over there. You gotta understand too. First, I had to get my coffee and pump my fuel and then get off my clock. And once I'm off my clock, then I'm like, okay, well, I'll check this out. I scoped it out. It looked like shit. The guy's like new and what, and I'm like, man, do I want to spend the next 45 minutes out here trying to figure this out? Am I gonna let him handle his mess? You know, because he knows he got into it. So the guy that was next to me after I went in again, he told me, because I went in for another couple of waters, he told me when I got out, he says, you know what that guy did? He says he wound up getting out of there. He wound up going past on another aisle, and he said he wasn't doing too much better whenever he got through the fuel aisle as whenever he was in it to turn and get through the parking lot. That's why they're spending 30 minutes on the fuel aisle, people. If you hadn't figured that out yet, you're smart people. I know you hadn't really, maybe you got your brain wrapped around it, you're just mad they're in your way, but the truth is, those drivers are new, they're scared to back up because they can't. So they're taking their 30-minute break on the fuel aisle because they cannot back up. That's the truth. I've talked to them. I've asked them, hey man, you need some help backing up? Oh man, I'm scared I'm gonna hit something. I'll just sit right here. No lie. And their companies tell them to do it. They tell them to do it. So you're being blocked because they're like, hey, that's not hurting our freight. That's hurting somebody else's freight. That's hurting another company. They're dumping these people on us to train. They're dumping the situation on us and holding us up from hauling freight, and they think it makes them have more freight. That's the truth of it. You want me to lie to you? You want me to tell you the truth? So, you know, it's on you, believe me. Call me full of it, I don't know, whatever. But I know what's going on. I got a pretty good handle on the situation. It's been happening for a while, and none of it makes no sense. The only thing that makes sense out here is good food and catching up with people, and you know, giving each other a heads up of what's going on. Right now what's going on is it's 9 degrees ass outside. I went all the way to the truck stop, man, over there to get my burrito and some beans, and I'm like, man, it's freaking cold. Got back, seemed even colder, and this wind, I'm waiting for the polar vortex. It's not a polar vortex. There is a polar vortex that's dropped down. Let's see, somebody put, I'm not the brightest crayon in the box, but not the dullest either. Well, I tell you what, you will sharpen your skills, or you will shave some crayon off the side of your truck if you try to do it like that dude did. You know, I hope you don't. But yeah, like I was saying though, it's not necessarily, okay, we have a wind that drops down that airplanes travel in and go faster. Okay. And I'm watching this guy next to me, so I'm getting a little distracted here, but man, I hate it when they park that close to me. Anyways, yeah, we do have a jet stream in the United States, and the jet stream does dip down and stuff and does different stuff. You know, it goes down into Colorado. Sometimes it'll be like 80 degrees and it'll turn around and be 32 and snowing the next day. That's not changing so much. The polar vortex is up north of there and it's feeding into it. What we had the other day was a shockwave. It was an event. Something happened. Some people are calling it, you know, oh, DARPA, weather, whatever. No. Likely a meteorite. We've had a lot of them because we're traveling in space, by the way. We're in a bad position. We're the bad guys. Let's see, I get a yellow crayon and draw pole scuff marks on Swift trucks. Am I a bad guy? No, you're probably just going ahead and you're filling in the spots they won't hit later. Let's see. What is this here? Oh, I'm gonna have to go back to that. Let's see if I can make it give me comments. Something happened. Okay. Let's see, people aren't buying, so things are going to slow down big time, wait for the full-on collapse. Yeah, I believe so. Here's the thing that people are not aware of right now, and I don't mind telling you about it. But first let me finish up on the wind. The Earth, basically, we're the bad guys. In a galaxy where we're supposed to travel around the center of it, we're weaving up and down through the galactic plane. So when we hit meteorites, they're not hitting us. We're the bad guys. We're the one that's going through different places that are higher in, you know, meteorite metal and crap like that. So something hit, just like in Chelyabinsk, and that wind came around the Earth and passed no less than 6 storms. That was not a storm. There was no rain associated with it. So people wake up and hear what I'm saying. That was a shockwave. That was an event. It went past 3 or 4 storms, and the storms were still there. And there was no rain associated with it for the most part. Then there was snow. It blew 4% of the ice off of Lake, was it Lake Erie? I believe it was, that it blew 4% of the ice off and blew it into homes and stuff. And over the edge, and you know, was pushing on homes. But that does happen sometimes, but not in that way, not that quickly. And what it did was, it came around, it wound up, it was 50-mile-an-hour sustained winds, and then gusts of 70 where I was at, about blew me over. When it got to the Great Lakes, it picked up, because it took that lake effect, and it was 70-mile-an-hour sustained winds. I got a comment. It's called Haarp weather manipulation. Yeah, that's what people are saying that they believe people are working on. And we're fixing to get photobombed. I can't do nothing about it. I'm gonna leave it here for whatever that truck is. But here's the thing. So that shockwave is gonna come back around the Earth, and it's gonna hit us again until it's worn out, probably about 4 or 5 times. But what it did, and this is when I was wanting to bring this, I'll segue into what I wanted to talk about the food. Okay, I've already talked about food is going to go up with what they're doing with the food stamp program and other stuff, but here's the problem. People that aren't farmers aren't aware of this, but more barns, okay, that house animals, more barns were collapsed due to the weight of snow in Wisconsin, let's see, wait, what was it, Minnesota. There's all of those barns were collapsed, and over in, there was flooding over in, I want to say it was Queensland, Australia, that washed all of the cattle and everything just into one big heap and killed a lot of them. There was a lot of animals that died, and that we're going to have, because it's already affected the crops in California, I believe it is, that they're having a problem with, let's see, one country's having a problem with frost. California, I think they were talking about their, what was it, cauliflower or something. A lot of our food is currently being affected by cold weather, and a lot of trees, I think they were, I'm not sure if it was walnuts or some kind of a nut tree. There's a lot of stuff being affected by the snow, but it collapsed in the roofs of, I know for sure, in one little area, 19 barns. And because of the weather, it's going to be rough to grow hay. You got to feed the cattle. But then all the cattle dying over there in Australia, and we're having a problem with deer populations are actually getting new disease too, by the way. Let's see, all done by design, better believe it. Well, I'll tell you, at this point, only if, I think they would only do it if they're trying to kill themselves off too, because you know, somebody brings them their food. But we are going to be dealing with higher prices, whether you want to call it a shortage or not. So, you know, anybody wants to go vegan and be pale and frail, raise your hand, knock yourself out. I'm just saying, I want my steak, but it's, I'm eating beans and burrito right now, but I'll tell you, let's see, population control. You know, I think that's got to do with Margaret Sanger and her setting up in these different areas, setting up Planned Parenthood that kills babies, and now in New York they can actually have a baby be born and still kill it, and then if it lives they can decide if they should resuscitate it or not, but they won't. And it's crazy laws. They're killing babies. Now they're talking about should they not give to old people, and they said that they knew that that was coming. Give care to old people. Let's see, they don't care if they kill themselves off, they're worshiping Satan. Well, they're going to get to meet him real soon. There's a special place in hell for those people. So let's see, Horsefly put that too. Yup, he agrees with you. So hold on 1 second, I'm getting some, hold on 1 second. Any problems with the road, or y'all just chatting? Okay, well the other night south of Columbus, some trucker decided to do a U-turn in the median. Thought I'd throw that out there, and I'm doing it live. I'm on YouTube and trucking stuff, so we'll catch y'all later. Yeah, that says it all. So, you see, I mean, you know, we know what's up. You know, everybody's in on it. Everybody's welcome, even the CB. So, I'll turn that back down. Anyways, I wanted to know, because we're still getting some mist. It's still going to be icy and dicey, but I got a few more pedaling to do, a few more hours. Let's say YouTube, Horsefly. Yeah. So anyways, they might not even find my channel from the way I said it so fast. I don't worry about it. Oh, is this thing going to go off now? Now I hate that. If that thing starts beeping, I'll have to kill my engine. Which I could do in a bit anyways. Just wanted to go live, like I said, and now I'm getting something going on here. Reject it. Man, so where are we at? Yeah, we're talking about population control. Who knows what they're trying to do? Whatever they're trying to do, it's really stupid. Occasionally absent-minded Cortez. They have now put up on Twitter. Let me tell you what's going on Twitter, because it's my job to bring that to you, because a lot of you drivers are not on Twitter. You should be, though. It's where the smart people hang out. I'm just glad to have a seat at the table. I ain't trying to say I'm anything, but I do what I do. But they have now found out and shared on Twitter that all of these new women that are up there, supposedly representatives, were all part, they had a casting call, right? They had a casting call. They whittled it down to all them, and occasionally absent-minded Cortez, that's what I call her, occasionally absent-minded Cortez. She was one of them, and that's how she got voted in. They put up 30-something, and 7 of them got in. So those 7 senators, they said that they wanted 1 to be Latino, 1 to be Muslim, 1 to be black, 1 to be from I want to say, was that India? I'm not sure. They're basically, they wanted but they had to be picked to be the most outlandish, crazy people you could find. They did it on purpose. It was a group that was originally started by, yeah, cow farts are pollution. Yeah, that's what she put up. So they were originally, they were trying to, it was started, a group that was started by the Young Turks, and then they ran the Young Turks out of there. But they are people who are basically trying to start mayhem. They're trying to cause trouble in the government. They're not going to be lifetime senators or this or that or whatever. They're going to be up there for a little bit. They're going to cause trouble, and then they're going to put new people in from that same group. Hang on a second here. They've been manipulating the weather since Vietnam. They can make earthquakes, tornadoes, hurricanes, and even direct them by using those big balls that suits in the ocean, or big barges. Oh, that sits in the big balls in the ocean. See, they run Doppler. I think they're pretty much seismic wave sensors, but I'm with you. They do some stuff, and they do some crazy stuff. I'm not going to mention certain islands, but there's some crazy stuff that they do. And I've seen some crazy stuff that's turned my cell phone off and turned it back on again. I have seen turn it back on again. I didn't tell it to turn back on. Crazy stuff. So Yeah, they're doing some stuff, and DARPA is, you know, they're doing some stuff. And I don't know, but like I said, that shockwave come from a meteorite, because we can't, it would have been an atomic blast times 100 to have caused that. And it started on the, about a quarter of a way around the earth from Alaska on the other side where it happened and came this way. And so, and we just had some tornadoes. They declared a state of emergency in Alabama because it tore down a lot of stuff. It knocked one tower across a road, that was on the news, but it tore up a lot of stuff and a lot of houses. And then it tore across Georgia. Let's see here. Homeland Security said get ready for 6 months without power. Okay, they've been saying that. They've been telling us that. Let's see. Sounds good. Yep. Flat versus round earth. You know, the earth, it's my understanding that it's round with an oblateness at its center because it's kind of fat. The truth is, we've got satellites that go around it, and whether you could call them ground-based or if you say we can go up so far or whatever, you know, Jeffrey Looker put flat. Here's the thing. We're all stuck on it. We can't go past the Van Allen belt because it's too much radiation. And right now we're catching radiation from a hole in the sun. Horsefly put little faces. I can't even say what that is. But anyways, if you're on here, you see it. If you don't, you won't. So basically there's a hole in the sun. A big, massive hole. Okay? One guy said he showed on video, and I don't know if it's true or not, but it's possible because we have Sundivers all the time, and I watch for sunspots and I check the weather on that from the sun. There's some places on YouTube that these people study them and study what's going on with the cycles. We are now, you know, going through a solar minima, and it's like the grand solar minima. Let's see, when you look at the horizon, there's a flat line, it shows no curve. Okay, I'll give you that, you know. But about the sun, a guy had a video and said that something the size of Earth hit the sun full on, and he said he showed it in video, but I don't know if that's to be true or not. But they do have comets, meteors that hit the sun all day long, all the time. They hook around it, and sometimes they'll get thrown back out, or you know, just by gravity, just curved around it and keep going. Sometimes they're Sundivers. Look up Sundiver. But that planet, if it was a Sundiver or whatever, I don't know that to be true or not. What I do know is true is there's a massive hole in the sun right now. You can call me crazy. Oh, what's this guy know? No, I'm being for real. There's a coronal hole in the sun, and there's a solar wind coming out of it. And we missed it to our west, and it could have really killed every satellite we have and fried every wire just like it did the telegraphs. We miss it all the time, and we're watching it as it comes around. It's almost like Russian roulette at this point. Let's see, somebody put, if you think the sun we have is real, you better look up Sun Simulator. Well, I kind of believe it is, but I know that there's a hole in it. And so the sunspots are low, so we're going into a cycle of a minima, like the grand solar minima, and that's where our weather comes from. But that hole is blasting out radiation, and we just keep missing it. It's almost like it's clocked and we miss it. So we just missed an ejection from it. We just missed it to our west, but we got the tail end of it. So some of it did skim across Earth. They're talking about that it could be that we would have auroras from it, the charged particles in the atmosphere trying to, you know, block it. And they're talking about how the pole is shifting way over towards Russia, and it's moving at something like 15 miles or something like that, or how many kilometers a year I think it is. I'll have to look that up, but it's moving that way. And they're saying that because of that, we have a weaker, they're saying we have a weaker magnetic field around the Earth to block the sun, but it seems to happen at a time when the sun's at its minima. So it's kind of okay, except that big hole shooting stuff out as it comes around. And I'll put a link to this stuff. There's a woman who's been on all kinds of NASA sites and on all kinds of television shows. She studies this. She's got a weather thing she does all the time on her channel, and that's what she does, is she talks about sun weather. But there's other people that do it that I check, and they give you a forecast. Instead of a 10-day forecast, you get like about a 26-day forecast. But hold on a second here. Kind of like a farmer's almanac, you can read for the whole year, but sometimes it's wrong whenever a meteorite speeds up the weather. But let's see here, okay, here we go. China came out not long ago saying they're putting a sun simulator in the sky and fake moon. China has technology to do it. Yeah, that's true. They're talking about putting something up there that reflects light to a certain spot on the Earth and could just about catch on fire or whatever they want to do, man. They're sending up all kinds of stuff. You know, it's every time they sent up the space shuttle, it burned a hole in the ozone that did more damage than all of the cars on the whole planet in 1 year. Every time they sent it up. That's why they quit sending it up, if you ask me. But they've got satellites up there that need to be worked on. And you know, I don't know where to go with that. Let them do what they do. They want to go to Mars, but right now the trajectory to Mars, they can't possibly do it. Horsefly put hashtag SpaceX. Yeah, well, you know, and I don't want to get started on Elon Musk and all that mess, but anyways, I don't believe there's a car up there. You're not gonna make me believe that. And they're not tracking it with NORAD. They could track it easily. They could track little pieces. But anyways, so I got a little off subject, I'll tell you, and it's been a long day too. So you guys are just getting everything off the cuff from me. That's how I do it. Let's see, we've never been outside the firmament. We've been as far as the Van Allen belt is what my belief is. But we made Russia believe that we went all the way to the moon, and they have dead cosmonauts that landed. There's even a postage stamp of them because they tried. So it's kind of crazy. But you know, NASA Space Force. Well, it's not NASA Space Force, it's actually Space Force. I think that for the most part is to protect our satellites, and have a different group of people doing it. It was run by the Air Force. And so, and NORAD track stuff, but, so anyways, yeah, there's a lot to our weather though. And like I was saying about the sun, it's in a minima, and we could very easily go into, especially if volcanoes go off, but we could very easily go into a mini ice age, kind of like there was one year that was a year without a summer. Look that up. But Russia up to something, just saying. Russia's up to a lot. They've invented the, like I was telling the other day, they invented a submarine that's an ICBM basically, but it's not intercontinental if it's close enough, but it's basically a nuclear missile, but it's a submarine and it's a drone, and it can park out there and sit out there. But then, you know, there's other stuff we have to counter stuff, but I don't know, man. That's all they're about, war, you know. There's a guy that actually was in the KGB, and he did videos and lectures basically, but they videoed him doing the lecture, telling about what their plan was. Like, they're only 50% into true espionage. The other 50% they spend on trying to demoralize, destabilize, and overthrow our government. That's what their plan. That's the plan. And they're saying that they're so far into it, they're at crisis level, or want to claim that. I'll put a link up to that guy. You know, and that was back, man, what was that, in the 80s? I don't know. But he defected. He's dead now. I don't know if they killed him. They tend to kill their KGB agents that leave. You're not getting out. It's like the mob. If you're in KGB and you try to get out, they'll kill you. That's how they did that with the guy over there in London. They carried nuclear stuff in their pockets, irradiated half of London to do it, and put it in his tea. Nasty business. So, you know, part of that was that he tried to embarrass Putin, and at the same time, you know, whatever. Let them do what they do. They're all nuts. So, yeah, if they want to mess with stuff and try to mess with weather, it's just going to come back and bite them in the tail anyways. Because weather goes all over the planet. So I don't know how, you know, people talk about them spraying stuff, putting aluminum and different stuff in the atmosphere. If they're doing that, it's just going to hurt them too. Right now we're catching, there's people who are actually going out with radiation detectors, and they say that they're getting levels on California beaches from Fukushima in the sand. They're saying that they get levels. And there's a big thing about buying a radiation detector. There's two different kinds. One is the high level, that's the one you want to use, but then there's a low level one that you walk up. It won't tell you if you're in an area, but it'll get close to a little, you know, anything that you want to test. And there's a guy that bought a bunch of those from the government, and he refurbishes them and sells them. We know more about space than Earth. Well, they don't know what the dark matter in between is, and that's 100 or about 90% of space is dark matter. They don't know what the space is between our molecules and our body. That I believe it's the word of God. I believe he spoke us into existence, and because they believe it resonates in its sound, that it's his voice that keeps us together. We're spoken into existence. That is what it is. So, you know, it's all in how you look at things. I'm a student of Taoism, if you're familiar with that. It's not a religion. It's just a way of understanding things. Let's see. I've done it. I live on the coast. It's a very small spike, but there's radiation present in the water. Yeah, and they're having a problem with, because of the poles shifting, they realize that whales use the magnetic compass and they beach themselves. And also because of the radiation, they're having fish with something wrong with their lips. They're having all kinds of animals that have like 2 tails and 2 heads, and some of them that are just they're just dying, you know, and then washing up on the shore. But the die-off of all of those cows in Australia, that was from the flood. It flooded them all into one curve in the river. It's a big heap. There's pictures of it online in 2 different places in Queensland. They lost all those cattle, and it's because of the heavy rains and flooding. And you know, this is unprecedented. This is, like I said, it was an event. I believe it was a meteorite. If you want to call it Haarp, that's fine, but it happened, and could have had something to do with that glancing blow of the sun, that hole in the sun or whatever. But yeah, so we're looking at, you know, it's a solar minima. There's no sun spots, so the heat is down, and you know, there you go. But right now we're just experiencing a rough winter, and had a meteorite throw that thing around, you know, that shockwave, and it passed several storm systems. It had nothing to do with those storm systems, and we're dealing with really, really cold temperatures from the polar vortex too, that was pushed down. That was from years back, and now the trade towers don't block wind. It's changed the weather patterns completely, and this is the new weird weather. They can't explain it. They don't want to admit to it. You can sit there and listen to the news, and they'll say, oh yeah, it's gonna be high winds up to 70 miles an hour, and they say it with a smile, and then they fix their tie and they say, well, okay, back to you, what's traffic like? Well, there's, you know, 150 cars in a pileup. Oh, okay. They don't really want to tell you the cause of it, or that you shouldn't work and stay home, because they don't want to create mass panic. I just tell it like it is. You know, I don't think I'm going to create any kind of a mass anything, because I've got like a few people that'll watch it, and another 60, and then another couple hundred, and then it'll go to thousands. But the truth is, it is something you should be concerned about. You should buy food and stock up. You know, buy things that are about $1 a can. Buy meats. Buy, like I was talking about, it's not just corned beef hash. Now you can be bougie and have roast beef hash. But you know, that and corn and things that, you know, will last. Canned potatoes. A long time ago, you used to get a notification in the local mail and they would put that we are canning downtown on this date, bring your meats. So people would, you know, carve up whatever meat they had in their smoker, or if just they wanted to slaughter animal, they would bring it to town, they'd put it in the can, they would put a top on that can and seal it up for them, and they'd charge them a little bit to do that. And I want an abandoned missile silo. No, you really don't, because radiation tends to saturate metal. Steel is porous. Aluminum's porous too. That's why you're only polishing the surface of it when you polish tanks. But all metals are porous. You don't want to mess with military Humvees that have been over there, you know, any of those, you know, rounds that they've shot. You don't want to have a silo. You don't want anything that's ever been around radiation, because that's why they even have radon detectors. There's a certain amount of radiation, natural radiation, that's even found in granite. Granite is radioactive. That's why they talk about, oh, the pyramids, you know, they have granite in them and they're radioactive. Well, guess what? Then the geniuses want to say, hey, let's make countertops out of that shit. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't want a granite countertop, and I don't want to be nowhere near something that's previously housed any kind of nuclear anything. So those old silos, you don't want that. You don't want that. You can get a bunker. You can dig a hole in the ground with a backhoe and put a bunker in it, and they've got them now. A little pipe that comes out. It's good for tornadoes. All across the Midwest they have them, and that's why they mark them, and that's why they tell the location to the local police, so if there is a tornado and there's a tree on top of it, they know where to find the people. They're at that GPS location under all the debris from the house that blew on top of them, because a lot of times the house will blow on top of them. Horsefly 22 put, I be damned. Yeah, just telling it like it is. I just, you know, that's why I've personally been told about the Humvees, and just, man, you don't want no part of it. They're, first off, they're the worst riding things. The steering wheels don't adjust. You're better off, well, I like the Oshkosh vehicles, but the problem is those air filters suck in air. What's in the air? All kinds of stuff. The air filters that have it in it, they go through a bath before they send them back over here, but man, please, I'm just saying, metal is porous. That's all you need to know. It's like a sponge, and you want to stay away from metal beams and stuff. If there was ever a nuclear blast, you want to stay for at least 48 hours. There's a guy that talks about that. He does those, he refurbishes those Geiger counter things. I'll put a link up on this video since we're talking about it. When I get a chance later tonight or tomorrow, I'll put a link up to a video of his stuff. You can get in touch with him and buy his meters. They go from like $199 and then some of them up to $450. They're calibrated. He actually bought the I think it's cesium is what they're testing it, because they know the specific radiation that it puts out. It's not, I wanted to say background radiation. It's not background radiation, it's actual radiation. And they tune those devices to them. A lot of states bought them or were given them from the government, and in case it was, you know, any kind of thing go off. Some places still keep them in case there's something being hauled through their state, so that they can go out, and if there's a cleanup, they can know what's going on. And they've kept theirs, but most of them sold them wholesale to that guy, and he bought them, and he bought the equipment that was made to calibrate them. Then he turned around and raised enough money to hire the people who used to calibrate them to work for him. So not only does he sell those, and he sells what I call a rad badge. It's a thing that clips on you. It's like a rad badge if you worked at a nuclear power plant that they'll put on you, and if you ever show that you've got, you know, too much on or whatever, you've been exposed, that's when you get fired. So, but they'll check out, you know, your rad badge will tell you, so you'll get out of there, you know. But it's shaped differently, and it goes on a keychain. So you can buy this little keychain thing for, I want to say it's 199 bucks or 150 or 199 bucks. It's a keychain, it's with you all the time, And then there's another one that works like the keychain and like the rad badge that can go on your shirt or whatever, but it's a business card and it goes in your wallet. So if you heard a boom and you think it might be nuclear, you open up your wallet, you pull that thing out, and you wait, and you say, okay, and if it doesn't change color, then you know that you're not in the affected area, because it only affects areas so far out. They're going to want to do something that's about 22 miles up. The way that it will affect you is the wind will carry it usually in like a slice of pizza kind of direction, and it will not just go all the way around. It's not going to be perfect, and depending on how many they have, you know, there's a lot of factors in that. But you can get those devices wholesale, or I wouldn't say wholesale, I'm sorry, sold to the public now. You can buy them commercially, I guess you'd say. And so if you want a keychain or the card thing or the whatever, I'll put a link up to his video. He does that kind of stuff. I've never had much interest in people, you know, I talk about what I talk about. I get questioned about stuff and they're like, wow, you know about that? Yeah, I kind of do. You kind of should. But you want to stay underground for about 48 hours. The ground tends to not really filter it out, but stop a lot of it. And then you're going to come out and you're going to see what's going on, and you're going to bring a detector. You know, let's hope none of this ever comes to fruition. But the blast alone, first thing that happens is that thing will go off, and they say people are going to want to go and look and see what's happened. Then seconds after that, or minutes or whatever, that blast will come and blow through them, and they're gone. There's nothing left. So you want to duck and cover. I'm sitting here telling all this stuff. Am I going too far into this, or is this, somebody tell me something? So I'm just saying, you know, it's just what I know, and you should know it. People should know this stuff. But you can get the detecting equipment, and then they have bunkers that are, this other guy builds. I don't know his YouTube channel, but he did the video of the other guy. But you can buy bunkers that are supposedly lined and protective against that. He put nah. Yeah, so anyways, from the sun though, and from other stars, Kenneth put not far enough. Yeah, I should go further. So the problem is that gamma rays and gamma ray bursts come from pulsars, and they happen all the time, and but they also come from the center of our galaxy, and we're going through a part around the outside of our galaxy that is a ocean of the stuff. You can measure it under mountains because it filters everything out except gamma rays. They go completely through the earth. They go through you and me. They're going through us right now. We're in a high gamma ray, which means a high cancer, you know, area. You're going to be a lot more cancers and that kind of stuff. It is what it is. So that's happening, you know, and at the same time, there could be a gamma ray burst from another planet would go right through our atmosphere and, you know, wipe everybody out. That's just all there is to it. But the gamma ray that we're being protected by the bow shock of the sun, and we're traveling behind it, and the magnetic field of the earth shields a lot of it, but where it deflects and where it can't quite shield it is at the poles, and that is what the aurora borealis is all about. That's why you see the lights, because it's highly charged, I guess you'd say photons, because everything, you know, is carried on photons, light's carried on photons, but they're highly charged, and it creates like a wavy light in the sky. But yeah, there's people who study space weather and put it out. I just watch it because it gives you a forecast of what's going to happen, and that coronal hole in the sun is something I'm watching, because it'll let you know when it's going to wipe out satellites and when you'll lose your GPS. So like I said, keep a map book. It just is what it is. I'm not, you know, the person who knows everything. I just happen to listen to the ones that do, you know, and I take notes, copious notes. You know, you got to be stand on the shoulders of geniuses. Like I said, there's nothing wrong with that. That's what I was talking about, Taoism. You know, they say that, you know, if you are, there's two types of people, they say. Kid put, it's all God. Yeah, well, that too. But that's why they say in Taoism, they say that, and that came from China and into Japan. It's a philosophy, it's a teaching, and it's not a religion, but it's a teaching. And they say basically that when you that there's two types of people. That one type will be the type that will be smart enough to find a quicker way and use it. They don't consider that cheating, they just consider that their way. Then there will be another type that will take a harder path, and it might take them a while, but they will get to the same place. Okay, and there's a word for it. It does kind of mean that they are less intelligent, but what they say is there's nothing wrong with a teacher teaching the people who are not so intelligent they would figure it out on their own and leading them to the quicker way. There's nothing wrong with that. See, I teach a lot of mechanical stuff that people have never been trained in. They got a CDL, they've never been trained in that, they've not thought in my way of thinking, and I hand it to them. So what's wrong with them knowing that from day one? If I know it, I see nothing wrong with me taking them by the hand and saying, hey, let's lead you through this shit, and then you won't waste 20 years trying to figure this out. And you can move further, you know? If we create a situation where the children on this planet today don't have to work so hard for food, don't have to look for where their next meal is coming from, and don't have to work 80 hours a week just to make a living, you will come up with the cure of cancer, whether you want it or not. Because I know they make money doing the research and they'd rather not let go of that. But the truth is, all of the children will all independently come up with the cure for cancer and every other possible ailment, and, you know, figure out how to make us live longer, simply because they won't be focused on day-to-day mundane things. So if you can lift them up and send them further, just like I'm helping drivers out, they will do greater things later. It makes our society better. Holding people back does nothing. It's another form of hate. And so I've already had my thoughts on hate and put it out there. You know, it eats you up. So it's like acid. It eats the inside of the container it's in. Hate eats up the inside of people. It does you no good. It's like taking poison and wishing your enemy to die. It hurts you. Don't carry it. Drop it. You know, like bad luggage, you know, and get some new luggage. Put something new in it. But yeah, but back to what I was saying, because I went off into a little bit of a tangent, but that, like I was saying, the Tao or Taoism, it's basically a way of thinking, and it celebrates giving someone an edge. It celebrates giving somebody an edge because it says there's nothing wrong with that. Now, if somebody else wants to take the harder path, that's fine. Okay, and you can lead a horse to water, but you can't teach it to drink or make it drink. But there's some horses that would be appreciative, you know. You gotta take everybody on a case-by-case basis, like I do. I put stuff up here, and if you appreciate it, that's great. And there's a lot of people who seem to, and I'm thinking it's awesome. When I'm done, I hope to have every single thing that could break on a truck that a driver could physically fix with their hands, and there's no reason for them to wait on shop time to do it, and they could beat the record and save money. I hope to have a video on every single one of them, all the way down to the radio. It just takes time, and it's a lot of effort. That's my deal. Maybe I'll make this my... I've been needing to do a channel trailer. This is kind of what I'm about. A little bit of everything. I've got Operation Hot Biscuit on there where I tell what's going on. Some of it's political. It's just stuff going on around the world. Let's see, I've got my fix-it vids and trucking tips is where I put mechanical stuff. That's for new drivers. Really, any driver, because some of the stuff I do, I understand. It's off the wall. It's out there. Change your brake chambers and stuff for most people is a big deal. I've got Trucker Newsnet, because if there's a shooter on the loose, and they're not talking about it on the news until 5, but he's shooting at noon, well, you might want to know about it if you're driving a truck through that town, like when I was in Ohio, and a long time ago, and you know, It was actually a trucker who blocked that guy into the rest area. A couple of them working together on the CB. They got the tag. They said, that's that car. They blocked him in, called the police, worked together. The police showed up and popped him. That's how they got rid of that sniper and that kid that was with him, sleeping in the rest area in that car. So truck drivers stopped that shit. I don't know if the guy ever got the reward. I hope he did, but they were talking about they think he should have, and I don't know if he did or not. But point is, Trucker Newsnet, I'm putting it out there. If something happens and in any kind of a avalanche or maybe a road outage or a shooter or active shooter or like any kind of a national emergency, a tornado, something that you should know about, I'm putting it on Trucker Newsnet. And if somebody knows something, let me know and I'll put it up. I've got another playlist for places you can get good food in a truck and park a truck there. It's hard to find truck parking. I've got one that all my different playlists, you have to look through them. I would have to actually I had wrote a few of them down on a notepad, to be honest with you. I can make this I'll make this my channel trailer. I wanted to do the live that I'm gonna do with the kid. If I have to do another one, or I'll not a live, but the video on the Black Smoke Matters, Black Smoke Trucker Shutdown for April 12th. That's when that's happening. I'm gonna make that my channel trailer, or whatever you can call it, introduction to my channel. And then I'll put this one up there, yeah, that's just kind of what I do. And I talk about the things that are going on that affect our weather, including what comes from space. Let's see here. I think as far as my playlists go, I think I went into them. Let's see. Operation Hot Biscuit. I'm just basically downloading my brain onto the internet. So when I'm dead one day, somebody will appreciate me, and I'll keep them off the side of the mountain from freezing to death, and they'll know what a turbo boot is. That kind of thing, And this channel is just as much yours as it is mine. So people make comments all you want, and understand that it's for you, because I already know it. I already know what's in my head. I already know all these things. I just can't get them out fast enough, and I can't videotape them physically fast enough. But opportunities arise, and I get the camera out when it breaks, and just don't bully each other or troll each other, because I had to shut you down for that. Put you in the penalty box. But yeah, we're an army of digital soldiers, and that's why I started Operation Hot Biscuit. You got to have an operation name, and I'm trying to think of any other playlist. But like I said, I've got a few playlists, and it just is what it is, and I do what I do. It's a finishing school for truck drivers, and I put everything into subsections, because you may not be interested in anything except for the Trucker Newsnet. And if you are, there it is for you. It's like an encyclopedia. It's got to have different sections, and I broke it down, so yeah, I think I went over some stuff, and I don't my comments are, at some point, some of the videos I let them out, and then I'll make it by approval only, because I don't need the riffraff, nobody bullying nobody else. There's one guy on there, Travis something, I shouldn't even bring his name up, or whatever, trying to start messing with other people. Hey, that's when you got to shut them down, but I can't teach drivers at the fuel aisle everything I know, and I can't teach them, I can't waste my time doing that every day. So I tell them, and it's already up, and then there you go. That is my plan, is to take them where they should be, and they should know this stuff from day one. Keeping spare parts in your truck. But as you can see, I'm not trying to be well known for being well known for being well known. I'm not a Kardashian. I'm not trying to do all that. That's not my thing. I have no interest in being famous. You'll see me working on stuff, but I'm not like, hey, this is me, because that's the whole point of, Lao, when he talked about the Lao Tzu, when he had the art of the iminence of the way, or the book of the way, he told him, he says, look, if I point at the moon, my finger would block the moon. and you won't be able to see what I'm pointing at. But if I step back and tell you about the moon, you'll see what I'm talking about. I don't want to be in the way, and I'm not running a psyop. And basically it's a ingredient for psyop cake, if you will, to see a person and to see that somebody you look up to and you get used to that person. It's just like what they do with the news media. They're trying to be famous, but it works. It's like concerts. If you have a human head tilted up at a 45-degree angle looking up at someone in a concert, they think that they're falling for that person, and they think they're the greatest person ever, or whatever. It does something to their chemicals in their brain. They lose their sensibility. It's like when you turn an alligator upside down, it goes comatose. Or a shark could be nose down in the water, it goes comatose. You pick up a cat from the scruff of its neck, it's so that the mother can take a wild animal or a cat where it needs to go and then drop it down for safety. They just get it's comatose or catatonic in a way. That's what happens to you at a concert after about 15 or 20 minutes of holding your head up at a 45-degree angle looking up. The old Roman cathedrals, where they would listen, and they would have these little areas that was a pit down in the bottom. That's where the speaker was. And if he was reciting poetry or singing or whatever he was doing, the people all the way up in the nosebleed seats could hear him perfectly, because the acoustics are perfect. That's why our orchestras are in a pit. If you ever go to a play, the orchestra pit, it's called the orchestra pit, it's in a pit, because acoustically it sounds better from down there. So why don't they do that at concerts with music? Because if they can get your head tilted back at an angle, they can brainwash you with the flashing lights, subliminal messaging, and with the fact that you think that you're crazy about that guy, and you give all your money for the t-shirts and the music at the end of the end of the day. And you've spent money in there on drinks and everything else, and you feel like you've had a great time. Truth is, you've lost your sensibility. And it's just like how all those women were screaming at the Beatles, and people are like, why were they acting that way? They're out of their mind, like they've lost their sensibility. It's because they had. So I'm telling you, I'm not running a psyop, and I'm not going to put the ingredients in there to bake a psyop cake either. I'm not going to be a part of that. And I see it now. Listen, there's YouTubers on here that I like and that I watch, and they are, basically in front of the camera, and they, talk, and they do. There's nothing wrong with that, and they have no reason in any way to sway people in any kind of a bad way, and they don't have it in their heart to do that. However, if they want to make friends and go out and have meetups and all this stuff they do and whatever, go to mats and stand there, and some of them get a little crazy with it and think that they're some kind of a star or something. Look, man, I've met people. People know me. I'm me. But that's a slippery slope. You know what I'm saying? And the way I've been trained and what I've been taught, and by my code, you might want to look up The Art of War by Sun Tzu. That's it right there. Some required reading. I'll do a playlist on required reading. I'll call it required reading. And I'll put him in there, and I'll put a book on Taoism, and I'll put a book on, it's philosophy. It's not a religion. And you'll listen to it, hey, that makes sense. I get that. Now I get where he's coming from. And at the same time, I'm Cherokee, so I know what my uncles have taught me. You wind up being a product of your environment, okay? And I'm just a product of my environment. But what I know is if you create a different environment around people, you can change them. I'm not trying to change people. I do want to teach people, but I don't want to change them. I want you to feel the same way you've always felt, but I want you to know the knowledge of how to repair your truck. And I want you to hear what I'm saying about what's happening around you and how it might affect you, so you don't let it change you. Just keep being the same person you are. You know what I mean? So if it wants to say something or tear me up or say my philosophy's shot or whatever, or say, hey, how you doing? I'm good with everything. I'm fine, because I'm comfortable in my own shell, and I'm comfortable and you might say, I'm comfortable with my manhood. I don't have the highest of all self-esteems. I have a normal self-esteem, but I'm saying you're not gonna punch holes in it if you give me constructive criticism in any way. So yeah, hey, look, I'm open for constructive criticism. If you can think of ways I can make my channel better, throw it out there too. But you know, but I'll make this my trailer later. I'm gonna do that Black Smoke trailer with Kid first, because that's important. There's a shutdown coming April 12th, and you know, they're going to make sure that things change for the better, instead of the over-regulation and the beating up on truckers with low rates, you know, and trying to over-regulate us with hours that we can't possibly, especially hauling cattle and that kind of stuff. We can't do that. You know, the animals alone can't handle it, you know. So, but I've talked about that, and I'll either dig that video out and get it worked out, unencrypt it, whatever happened, or we will make another one, because it's happening. That's another thing, an event you should know about. And I'll put it on a couple of playlists. I'll put it on Trucker Newsnet, and I'll put it on, well, I've got a couple of them that I can put it in. So if anybody wants to say anything else, I'll give you a few minutes. I'm still eating my beans, still going to have my burrito, and I'm going to get down the road. Y'all can have at it. Turn this radio up a little bit, and you know, me and Kid's been working on some stuff for you. So we just got to do some more stuff, because like I said, my I either got infiltrated, it was either subversion, or just one of those things that can happen, I guess, when you record something. I don't know. I'll find out. I'll get to the bottom of it though and get it worked out. You can make a comment unless you're the strong silent type. Don't know who else we got in here, and then I'm going to get going. It's been a good little chat. Yeah, like I said, a lot of stuff going on. It's hard to know where to start, and then you get led around the world. Well, we've got some seriously cold weather that we're fighting right now, and it is probably 8 degrees now, with a wind chill factor that makes it about 5. I'd say about 5 degrees is what it's, the real feel might be between 2 and 5 degrees outside. So is what it is. We keep trucking, drop and hook, and try not to freeze. Be careful outside your trucks, guys. There's ice out there, you know. It's been kind of difficult. And that was brought to you by PTL. They can fly through parking lots. They don't care. He's in a hurry. He's got somewhere to be. I hope y'all are doing good. Kind of crazy world we live in. I got a lot of links to put up here, don't I? We talked about a lot. But I will put links, because hey, I'm not just talking off, you know, something that I've wished up. It's real. And you can buy that stuff from those guys I was talking about. You can look up what I was talking about. I'll put a link to that, where they did a casting call and said, hey, you want to be a, you know, you want to work in the government? We'll put you in, you know, I don't even know what to say about that. That's crazy. Like Trump said, there's some people in here that shouldn't even be in here representing the United States. That's who he was talking about. But if they keep putting them up there, I think it's great. I hope they find the craziest people on the planet. That just means that we know for sure they're not going to vote for them. You know, that's just, it's just not going to happen. So, yeah, there's been some crazy stuff going on. They had a video of Bernie Sanders with no shirt on singing "This Land Is Your Land" in Russia. I don't know, that was odd. I guess that's Bernie's land, but he was drunk, they were all singing, and he had no shirt and no pants on. It was very odd, wearing a towel or something. Very, they were all the men around there, and maybe the women too. I don't know, it's a crazy video. Look it up. You can look up Bernie in Russia, and I think it was in 1988 or something, Russian trip, and you'll find 10 links to it, and then when you see the name of that trip, you can Google that and find out even more of them. But he's the guy on the right, the old man with the glasses, and no shirt and no pants and whatever. I don't know what to say. So evidently Russia is his land. What can you say? But if that's what they're gonna trot out there for president, I hope they do. That's the best I can say. At this point, I would believe anything crazy that someone told me that they've seen on the internet, because I'm seeing some crazy stuff. But yeah, they're all sitting around drunk, and you know, a whole bunch of Russians, and they're singing. I don't know what to say. Talk about Russian collusion. That's pretty much that's it. That's what they do. They say something about somebody, and they're doing that. I don't know, it's crazy. But all you truck drivers out there, save up as much money as you can between now and you know, it's a Friday for April 12th. And it goes to a weekend. And I will do another video if I have to on it. I will get it to you. A breakdown of that Black Smoke Matters. Kids helping us out. Yeah, we've come a long way though. We've come a long way from standing on the outside of the truck with the door open and the throttle up, holding on to the steering wheel and not having air conditioning in the truck, standing on the rail. I didn't do that, but that's what drivers used to do for a little bit of air. And I was talking to the kid the other night too. They used to keep a box in the passenger side on the floorboard with hot coals in it. That's how they kept warm and bundled up with some stuff, trying to keep warm. You know, open flame there in the truck. You know, we've come a long way. We just got to make sure that things go our way, and that they're not continually taking little and little and little from us by eating us up with freight rates, killing us on fuel, and making us shut down when, you know, we're in a area we don't want to be in, or how far from the pickup or whatever. You know, it's getting to be ridiculous. And if tankers can run all winter, okay, and they get a basically a written piece of paper from the government that says that they are absolved of the laws, they should at least give us a kill button for certain situations, not just a PC miles to go to a truck stop, but give us a little more leeway, and let us take breaks where we want to. And really, we need to be able to take a nap in the middle of the day that actually stops the 14-hour clock. That's the big one that I'm on. But the kid can inform you a lot more than I can, and like I said, we're trying to bring it to you. I really worked hard on that video. It just went into some kind of a could not load event, and we will get on top of that. We'll fix that for you. Anybody wants to say anything else? I'm fixing to get off this thing and I'm gonna get going. I gotta move some freight. So I'll give you a couple seconds here if you want to make a comment, and after that I'll put it up. It'll go up as a video. I guess I'll make this Operation Hot Biscuit. Kind of is what it is. Hot burrito. I'm not going to start a whole nother Operation Hot Burrito. It falls under Hot Biscuit. So it's under the umbrella of that same operation. Eat what you have, you know. If you got cigars, smoke them if you got them. People, it's been fun. Always is. Just be knowledgeable on what's going on, and hopefully that coronal hole, when it turns around, as it goes around, won't blast us. At this point, it's Russian roulette, and the sunspots are low, so it's like a grand solar minima in a way. That starts ice ages, so it's definitely in a solar minima. I don't know about the grand solar minima, but it's like I said, it could easily send us into mini ice age, maybe even a year without a summer. And it's going to be difficult because a lot of the frost has killed a lot of the plants they're even trying to grow, and trees have lost all their limbs for that. I think that was a walnut farm, and then we lost so many barns from this, more they said than any year ever. The weight of the snow collapsed their tops. One guy, by the way, he had a big building that was built like hoops, but it was steel. It still pushed in the roof, and he was living contained within that thing on his own, off grid, and it destroyed his place. That was on the internet also. The snow has just been too much. bulldozers have not been enough in some places. And I'm fixing to go a little further north into some of that mess. So y'all stay safe, and I'm gonna go do some more stuff like that. And can't take that one now, but I'm gonna keep the shiny side up. I hope everybody else does. And so that's all I got for you for the day. Have a good one. I'm out. Peace.